res dog to us always just meant stray dog, right? We didn't really know the magnitude of what that actually meant. So when I went there to deliver this check, they asked if they could get a photo of me with one of their shelter dogs that they had in-house at the time. So absolutely, we can do a photo. So they brought out a dog that had 3 legs. One of her legs was freshly amputated. And I said, well, what happened to her? And they said she was thrown out of a vehicle. And it just like shocked me, like immediately, like thrown out of a vehicle. Like what? Like I'm just like so oblivious to this world and everything that happens to these dogs. And I was like, well, where? And she said, where do you think? And I'm like, well, I have no idea. Like I don't know where. What do you mean? She's like, well, Masquachese, which is one of the local reserves in central Alberta.
This is Kelly Lamb coming to you from Prince Albert, Saskatchewan with a special report for Rebel News. If you're anything like me, you love dogs. And you've probably also, like me, unfortunately seen a lot of sad and very disturbing reports over the years all across the world about animal rights issues, abuses, cruelty. Now, often the worst case scenarios, the worst offenders are coming from countries that are far, far away from Canada. Because Canada is, largely speaking, considered to be one of the more progressive nations in the world, a G7 country. We do, as a society, roundly reject animal cruelty. We have laws on the books against such offenses, both federally and provincially. However, despite this, what if I told you that there is a massive and shocking animal rights and animal abuse and cruelty issue going on in Canada, and rarely are the perpetrators held accountable? The issue here is res dogs. What is a res dog? A res dog, simply put, is a dog that comes from a First Nations or Indigenous reservation. And given our fairly sensitive political and social climate in Canada today, a lot of people won't take it on. They won't touch it because it brings up controversial topics, including race. Unfortunately, that seems to be the norm, but we do have some very outspoken, very passionate people who are willing to take this on and be the voice for these dogs who can't speak for themselves. One such very outspoken and very passionate activist is Reed Salmon out of Alberta. Reed is here and has agreed to speak with me about the plight of these animals, what his organization is doing, and how you can be a part of a positive change for these dogs. Be prepared. Some of the information you're going to hear is profoundly disturbing. Viewer discretion is advised.
Basically, this was not planned. This was not something that I really seen in my future. I had no idea that this was going to become what I do and think about every single day, but it is. And so, yeah, I basically started in 2022. I did first of all, I'm a singer-songwriter from central Alberta. And I put on a benefit concert at one of the local bars in Sylvan Lake. I live in the Sylvan Lake area. So one of the local bars agreed that it would be a cool idea to do a charity fundraiser. We sold tickets at the door, $20 a ticket, and every 100% of the proceeds went to an animal rescue of my choice. And at the time, I didn't know anyone from the animal rescue. It was just one that I knew about in the area and one that was notable and credible for the things they do. So we raised $1,700 the first day. The first benefit concert that we did. In about 2 hours, we did $1,700. So the following week, I delivered the check to the animal rescue, and that was the first time that I actually found out what the term res dog meant. So growing up in these areas, we've all heard it. I think most of us, rural people anyway, in the cities, maybe not so much, but res dog to us always just meant stray dog, right? We didn't really know the magnitude of what that actually meant. So when I went there to deliver this check, they asked if they could get a photo of me with one of their shelter dogs that they had in-house at the time. So absolutely, we can do a photo. So they brought out a dog that had 3 legs. One of her legs was freshly amputated. And I said, well, what happened to her? And they said she was thrown out of a vehicle. And it just like shocked me, like immediately, like thrown out of a vehicle. Like what? Like I'm just like so oblivious to this world and everything that happens to these dogs. And I was like, well, where? And she said, where do you think? And I'm like, well, I have no idea. Like, I don't know where. What do you mean? She's like, well, Masquatchis, which is one of the local reserves in central Alberta. And I said, like, how often does this happen? And she said, it happens all the time. And that was basically the first time that I became aware of how real the situation was.
What kind of horrors have you and other rescuers seen that haunt your dreams?
So the truth behind the matter is, out here off the reserve, if the things that were taking place on the reserves were happening out here, people would be arrested, they'd be charged. A good example is Chad and Irene from Winnipeg, Manitoba. They just got sentenced to 12 years for animal cruelty and videotaping and selling the videos online. The things that Chad and Irene were doing to these animals happens daily on the reserves, but no one is documenting it. The odd time you get someone who's dumb enough to videotape themselves doing it and then it surfaces on the internet, it'll land in my lap or another activist lap, and we will obviously share and expose what's happening. But that's the thing. The biggest thing that I want people to know is on the reserves right now, there are free passes for neglect, abuse, and animal cruelty. And people will argue that all day long. They will point the finger at me, calling me a racist because I'm a white guy and I'm pointing my finger at the reserves. Nobody likes that. It's an uncomfortable truth. The fact of the matter is, it is the truth. And the things that one of the videos that I shared a year ago, this month, actually, early March of 2025, it was actually my first time speaking on camera. It's something that I was not super comfortable doing. And it took this video for me to actually speak out loud on camera. And then that's kind of where the advocacy, took it to a new level, I guess. Everyone is so desensitized to the lack of care for these animals in these communities. And I'm not saying that everyone, I just want to make that clear. There are so many good people in these communities that want help. They just don't know who to ask or who to turn to, right? The desensitization factor is such a big one because they grow up around this. They grow up around these dogs being treated as pests, being treated as, like filthy animals. It's everyone wants one when they're a puppy, but then when they're adults, they just let them go. And they're, now they're starving and they're eating the neighbor's garbage. And now they're a pest. And it's just like, it's a vicious cycle that just never ends because of the lack of, I want to say laws, but I think they actually do have the laws. They're just not being enforced. You know what I mean? And
yeah,
so like the things we see, it all starts from neglect. Like neglect is the very basic, no food, no water. One of my least favorite things is the animals that are living on chains and they think they're being responsible animal owners by not letting them roam free. But in reality, they're torturing their animals psychologically to death. Chaining an animal up for life is just holding it prisoner. And the saddest part about this and what we want to fight for from here into the future is that these dogs are not like they need to be recognized as sentient because right now they're recognized as property. And that is completely wrong. That's what's hindering everything.
Explain what a dog cull is on a reserve in Canada for those who don't know. I know recently we saw some things going on in a place called Beardy's First Nation in Saskatchewan. There was a lot of lack of empathy, joking about taking out these dogs. You see these notices come up from reserves all over, yearly, sometimes more. Can you just talk a little bit more about what it is, and I guess just a little more of a broader understanding of this prevalent crisis in Canada?
So dog culls are the convenient way for them to resist responsible animal ownership. They just wait until their animal population has gone out of control. Typically, it comes down to a child or an elder or a person or another dog being attacked and either seriously injured or killed before they will do something. So here's what happens. And I feel like this is so obvious for everyone. It's like, sometimes I'm explaining this and I'm like, how is this so obvious to everyone, but you can't figure it out? The formula is simple, right? So we have dogs that are not fixed because no one gets their animals fixed. They like to use the excuse lack of veterinary services. That might pass on northern communities, fly-in communities that are actually 5 hours away from the nearest vet. But what about the communities down by Calgary, Edmonton, Red Deer? What about all those communities where the vet is 20 minutes away? That doesn't pass as an excuse, right? And the problems are the same, if not worse, in so many of these communities around the city, right? Then there's the other thing, the other excuse they will use. It's not their fault. It's the people from the towns dropping off their dogs and abandoning them in their communities that don't want them, right? Okay, well then alternatively, that works for the city communities, the ones near the cities, but that doesn't pass for the ones 6 hours in the bush because no one's driving or flying 6 hours into the bush to dump their dog. They're going to go to the farmer's field or wherever the hell is closer, right? It's just unrealistic. It just doesn't pass as an excuse. So what happens is they don't enforce these laws, these spay neuter laws, these breeding laws. They don't have any laws for that, or if they do, they're not being enforced. They wait till it's out of control because these domestic dogs, they breed year round. It's not like coyotes, wolves, bears, anything that has a mating season in the wild. These dogs breed year round, right? Year round breeding, winter, summer, fall, spring, year round. If the dogs are actually, I was going to say if they're lucky, if they're lucky, they'll die quick. But if they don't, the average lifespan of a res dog is typically 3 years before it starves to death, gets shot, or ran over, they say. So what happens with the cull is they will put out a poster. We're going to be having a cull this week, or they actually will lots of times say dog shoot. Like they don't even try and hide it, right? These are the communities that put out the poster. A lot of communities try to avoid people like me from exposing them, so they'll just keep it hush, tuck it under the rug. They will get their volunteer shooters or their paid shooters. That's the crazy part, paid shooter, because what they do is they pay per tail, which is really sick. They go out, they shoot these dogs, they'll cut their tails off, and they'll bring them back to the band office to get paid per tail, right? That money that they're paying for these shooters to go and kill these dogs could go to any animal rescue to come in and humanely remove them, or it can be put into a fund to spay and neuter the animal and actually provide vet care for these people's animals within the community. But instead, it's much easier to just go out and shoot them because they like, the truth of the matter is they don't care. They don't care about the animals, the pain and suffering that they're enduring during this. They care about the convenience, right? They'll always resort back to, it's for our people, it's for our children. The children are being attacked. If you really gave a shit about the children being attacked, wouldn't you start enforcing the laws and the penalties for the animal welfare in your community? For the people? If not for the dogs, how about for the people then, right? Because the hardest part about it too is most of these residents don't have fenced backyards, right? So they let their dogs roam free. I think people get this mixed up with me a lot. I think they think that I'm against free roaming dogs. I'm actually more against dogs on chains all day long. This new law, or this new bill that just got passed, Bill C9, has actually been flagging some of my posts, saying that I'm targeting a group of people based on who they are. So now in turn, because we're not allowed to speak out against, I don't actually know the exact reason. I don't know if it's the swearing. I have other posts that don't get flagged that have swear words. A couple of them, an example that I have from the other day. I shared a post from a guy. He made a post telling reserves to stop announcing their dog culls because stupid activists like myself will get on and expose them. So I shared his post about that, and I used a couple swear words. No hate speech was used during this post or in this post, and that post got taken down by Facebook. And this was just days following the passing of Bill C9. So now we're not even allowed to expose what's happening. That's what it looks like it's coming down to. And like we talked about before, these Indigenous-led rescues in Saskatchewan that really have a hate out for me. That's always their excuse to me, is that I'm racist because I'm white privileged and I'm not allowed. We have these rescues that, it's always the race card. It's always the race card. I'm requesting accountability and responsible animal ownership and accountability from the leadership to actually do something about these atrocities taking place in their communities, because it all comes down to leadership. At the end of the day, they're voted in to take care of all living beings in their communities. I'm the white guy pointing the finger, right? We go back decades and decades, and that has been always the card that gets pulled anytime we want an answer from why this cruelty is taking place. So what if I was Indigenous? What would the excuse be? I always ask that. Like, what if I was from this community and I was Indigenous? Well, I don't know what they would say, because I've had people tell me anybody that tries to speak up in these communities will be called whitewashed. They'll be called, traitors, whatever it is. And so in turn, these people are scared. They're scared. There's so many people that are scared. I've gotten emails and text messages from people who are thanking me for actually speaking up and doing something, but they always request to remain anonymous because they're afraid. And it's really sad. Beardy's was a good example because of the cull that took place there. And we were exposing that guy who one of the council members was related to, and he's allowed to go out and shoot these dogs and execute this cull. Well, this cull was not actually a cull. It was just a psychopath with a shotgun, by the way. It wasn't a rifle where you just killed the dog with one shot, which is still inhumane because most of these guys go out and they're shooting from who knows how far. It's not like point blank range where you're going to kill it. Like the amount of animals that we get brought into care that have bullets lodged in their spines, in their guts, it's sickening.
It's got to take a toll on yourself, your relationships, your mental health.
Yeah, it definitely, there was a week last March when me and a rescue friend went up to La Loche, Saskatchewan. We pulled 110 dogs from a cull. We rescued 110 dogs from being shot that day. And unfortunately, we didn't get to them all. We were told they were going to call off the cull, but then we heard from somebody else that they continued to just go ahead and shoot whatever dogs weren't able to get out of there with the two of us. There's only two of us in one rescue van. Like, how much can you really do? It's pretty wild that we even got that many out, honestly. Following that week was like the first time that I actually felt the heavy weight of everyone coming down on me. And then you're nonstop questioning yourself, like, am I delusional? Am I crazy? Like, you almost, it sucks when you're questioning yourself going, am I being racist? Why are so many people coming at me for this? And I'm looking back, I'm going, no, I'm not. Nothing I'm doing is racist. It's just an easy way out for them. It's an easy excuse. It's an easy card for them to pull to deflect from the situation every time, right?
You have also been accused of, well, not accused of, I know you've claimed that you think that when things have gotten really bad, you've said that maybe they should ban dogs on the res. Do you care to just defend yourself and speak to that as well?
Yeah, that definitely comes from anger for sure. And, that's one of the very most bold statements I've said is banning dogs from the res. If you want the truth, I think that it has gotten so bad in so many communities that if they're not going to, do their due diligence and put these laws in place and enforce them, I think the right thing to do for the animals would be to ban dogs from these communities. I truly believe that wholeheartedly. Not all of them. If it's not so bad in one community from another, then it should be easier to clean up, right? Like the formula is simple, like I said. Spay neuter for population control, make that a law, hire your own people, hire 2 guys to go out and do weekly checks and make sure that everyone's keeping up. And if they're not, that's where fines come in. We get fines for parking. We get parking tickets. We get tint tickets. We get speeding tickets. Like, I'm sure we can dish out some fines for animal cruelty and neglect and suppressing an issue as big as this one, right? Do I think that animals should be banned on the reserves? In some of them, yes, I do. If they can't clean up their mess and pull up their drawers, then yeah, they absolutely should. It's like I hear about these communities that have banned alcohol because it's become such a problem. If something gets that out of hand, I think banning it is the solution. And I don't mean reserves across Canada. I know I was pretty vague in my statement when I said, okay, screw it, let's go for the ban on animals on reserves. If it came down to it, it wouldn't be all of them, but I think every single community should be audited and checked to see how bad it is in their community. Not just for the animals, but for the safety of the people. We have kids that can't even walk to school, right? We can't have kids that can't go outside and play because of the dogs. And then what happens is a dog will come, attack a kid, and then a cull's in place, and now all these innocent dogs are being brutally slaughtered because of it. It's like a never-ending cycle. It's like, and like they will continue to defend their reasoning for it because it's for the kids and this. Well, even if that's true, don't you think that you should not torture the animal to death? Don't you think you should at least have someone who's competent enough to trap the animal and euthanize it humanely? Even if that is, even if their only method of euthanasia is a gun, they should be able to do that with a single bullet, not a shotgun using bird rounds. This has been brought to my attention recently this summer, actually. One of my friends in Saskatchewan during a holdout we did was telling me how he got started and the things that he's seen in communities in northern Saskatchewan and Manitoba. I didn't know that a lot of these communities were using shotguns because the rounds are cheaper.
I want to shift to your organization and some of the stuff that you're doing. When you get a donation, when people support you, what are they supporting? Are you supporting other rescues? Is it your front line on boots on the ground work? I know you mentioned going out. You're not just saving dogs, you're feeding dogs, you're taking food, you're taking straw bales. Many rescues are doing the same. What does your foundation do? And if someone were to donate, and how can they find you? What does that look like? And then we'll talk a little more about some of the other ways people can help rescues in their region.
Most people wonder when they donate to a rescue, if they don't know the rescue, where's the money actually going? Is it going to the dogs? Is it going to the dog with the broken leg? Is it going to the dog with the porcupine quills? Is it going to plane tickets? Where's it going? Like, right? That's the thing that people don't always know is they don't know where their money's going. Transparency for me is one of the biggest things. That's why anytime I'm raising money for something, I usually show the result following the fundraiser that we did for that specific event. Like if a dog gets hit by a car and I post a fundraiser for this dog, I want to show them post-operative care to show them that where their money is going, right? It doesn't always go that way if we do fundraisers. I've done a few fundraisers. You've probably seen like the fun stunt fundraiser that I've done, the Christmas fundraiser in my underwear and things like that. The majority of that money went to other rescues. So many rescues are they're always bursting at the seams. A lot of them have a hard time raising money because they don't have either the social media following, or fundraising just isn't their number one profession or skill, I guess. So I have gained a following, and with that, I thought, why would I not use that to the advantage to raise as much money possible for these people? And that's kind of how I started too, was raising money. It all stems back to that first fundraiser that I did with my buddy, where we were at a bar and we sang some acoustic songs and raised $1,700. And I thought, wow, that was pretty easy. I just raised $1,700 and it kind of became something that I wanted to keep doing. And that was my original plan, was just to raise money. That's kind of the funny thing about this whole thing. I just wanted to raise money and throw it to the rescues. Like, there's my good deed. That was before I actually knew what was happening. And then I had to get involved. I just involved myself. People ask me how I got involved. I just literally did it. I got involved. I didn't ask. I said, I'm going out here with 1,000 straw bales. And the rescue said, whoa, you can't go out there without a rescue. And I'm like, okay, well, I'll meet you out there then, because I'm going either way. Like, I want to take this to the next level. I wanted to build a team of advocates. I wanted to have a team of Indigenous-led advocates only over here, like a separate kind of arm. And I want to target this nationwide. And I have all these ideas, but I didn't want to do that under one person's name. So we haven't announced it yet, but we actually did just register a second nonprofit. This is the one that I will be using. I will be the executive director of, it's called the Bleeding Hearts Society, Bleeding Hearts Animal Society. It's one of my favorite things. And I can't believe it's not already a thing. Bleeding Hearts, like I thought that it would have already been a thing, but it wasn't. So Bleeding Hearts Society, I will be the executive director of. Reed Salmon Foundation is going to stay active, mostly for raising money and purposes. Money that I raise through that foundation will funnel into this one. It will also go to help other rescues as well. This foundation is going to be, I will be the president, continue being the president on the board of directors of the Reed Salmon Foundation. And the Bleeding Hearts is going to be a whole nother thing. We're going to try and create a nationwide network fighting this specific crisis. We need as many hands on deck. The thing about it is, like, there's so many animal rescues that are just working within their own walls. They're not coming together and they're not working together for certain things. We started to see it a little bit more when it comes to like big polls, like getting 100 dogs and all these rescues jumping in and helping one another place these animals. And that's what we want to see. We thought it would be a good idea to have a rescue network, Bleeding Heart Society, where we can have this strung nationwide and that you can actually pay to be a member. We're going to do like a very small, like $20 a month, $30 a month fee. I thought $1 a day would be a cool thing to become a member of the Bleeding Hearts. And then your monthly subscription as a Bleeding Hearts member is going right back to the dogs, to the food, to the transportation. It's just like a monthly recurring donation. But what that's going to do, if you are a member and you want to be a volunteer and you need fuel for this transport, it's coming right out of the fund. And so right now, Bleeding Hearts is very early stages. You can't even donate to it yet, but we'll get there soon. Right now, if people want to help, donating to my foundation, reedsalmonfoundation@gmail.com. That's the e-transfer donation. Or we have a PayPal link set up on my Facebook. That is how you can donate right now. People across this country ask me steady in my direct messages, how can I help? I want to do more than donate. Is there anything I can do? And then I see that they're from Victoria, BC, or they're from Vancouver, they're from Toronto, and I'm like, I don't know how they can help. I don't know how they can help further than donating. And that is actually where the idea for the Bleeding Hearts came from, because I want people to be connected to a network so that if they want to help, we're going to be putting out things on our website and our socials and things like that for ways they can help, like spay neuter clinics. We're going to have doghouse building clinics. I want to do a fundraiser to get every reserve in Canada a heated water dish, because for some reason the people in the reserves were taught that dogs can live off snow, and that's not true. They're just dehydrating themselves further. I'm just a very passionate person, and when I believe in something, I'm pretty much just I've always been a fighter, always been a scrapper. So now I'm taking my loud mouth and I'm actually doing something reasonable with it, and I'm gonna just keep using it, and I can take the backlash. So I'm not worried about that.
I know what Reed has told us today is hard to hear, but I also hope that it has inspired you to help however you can, even if you can't afford to donate, even if you can't adopt or foster a dog. You can share, you can like, you can subscribe and follow Reed or other rescues in your area. You can bring awareness to this very important pressing issue, and you can be a voice for the voiceless. Also, I should note that since this interview, I did convince Reed to start an X account. X might not be perfect, but at least it will allow him a lot less censorship as he moves forward speaking on this issue, because it is controversial and there will be a lot of people who want to shut him down. So you can follow him here as well as the other outlets that I had mentioned earlier. Thank you for watching. For Rebel News, I'm Kelly Lamb.